sitting in the Clemens Vonnegut Jr. home here on the east shore of Lake Maxinkuckee. Clemens Jr.'s father, Clemens Sr., was really the pioneer of the Vonnegut family arriving from Germany in the mid-1800s, where they settled in Indianapolis, and he built an extremely successful hardware business and really was one of the leading German-American citizens of Indianapolis, as were succeeding generations, along with several other German families. One of those families was the Schnull family, and it's from that family that Emma Schnull emanates. She's going to marry Clemens Jr. That's getting a little bit ahead of the story. This house is a story unto itself. It was built in 1889, one of the earliest of the Vonnegut homes here on the east shore of Lake Maxinkuckee. Of course, the renowned author Kurt Vonnegut and personality, the late Kurt Vonnegut Jr., references his childhood here on Lake Maxinkuckee. He says he made his first mental maps of the world here on the lake, that it was a closed loop and he could always explore his world and come, find his way back home. There are 3 Vonnegut-owned houses in a row here. Kurt Jr.'s main domicile when he was growing up is the one just to the north of us, and then the third one to the north became known as the House of 1,000 Candles because of the internationally best-selling novel of that title that was inspired by a winter that the author Meredith Nicholson spent in 1905, 1904 at that cottage. So there's this sort of literary heritage here, and definitely a rich Vonnegut heritage. Kurt Jr. Describes the growing up here as his Eden lost, and he describes it as heaven. And actually there's a platform right outside this house where Kurt talks about coming up with the idea for Tralfamadore in his famous novel, Slaughterhouse-Five. But all that's going to come a little bit later. Kurt isn't even born in 1889 when this house is built. And by this point, Clemens Jr. has married Emma Schnull, and they set up residence in the summer only in this cottage, which today even remains unheated in part of it. Just a word on this house, which was ready for the wrecking ball really by the 20-teens. So a group of Culver Academy's graduates worked together to restore the house, not only to save it from the wrecking ball, but to restore it to its 1889 specs as closely as possible. And now it's known as the Vonnegut House, and it's a rental. So you could come and stay in it. It is the largest of the 3 Vonnegut homes in a row here, so it's the one that the family tended to gather in for family meals, collectively or larger events. This house, the Clemens Jr. house, is also situated across the road from where Clemens Jr. is going to conceive the idea of an apple orchard. So the kind of home base for the Vonnegut Orchard is located right across the road from this house. I'm standing near the southern edge of Culver Academy's beautiful golf course, which dates to 1923. And if you had been here about a century ago, behind me would all be Vonnegut Orchard apple trees. Right along, this is 18th Road, all along 18th Road, and in fact going east even past Queen Road where it intersects with 18th. The genesis of that is really when Clemens Jr. and Emma Vonnegut's son Walter, in the spring of 1910, purchases over 100 acres from the Marks family, their farmland, telling the local newspapers that it's really conducive land off the east shore of the lake to fruit growing. He's working with Purdue University and begins this orchard. It's 1919 when his mother Emma adds to the orchard lands with another 30-plus acres purchased from the Peoples family, which is land really not quite, but almost directly across what we call today East Shore Drive or State Road 117 from the Clemens Vonnegut Jr. home that she sets up the orchard operation kind of ground zero. It's in a house she calls the Hollyhocks for the preponderance of those flowers growing on that land. And she's going to live there really for the rest of her life, starting in 1919. In 1937, the house burns down. She has it rebuilt. She's going to pass away in 1939. During that time, the Indianapolis Star writes a feature on Emma and calls her the most successful woman orchardist in this part of the country. After she passes away, the Oberlin family buys at least part of the orchard land and continues to run an orchard on that land until eventually they sell the land to Culver Military Academy, today Culver Academies, and that's all going to become woodland just east here of the golf course, going along 18th Road for riding trails and walking trails and such for the school.
An apple for the teacher, that seems the thing to do. 'cause I want to learn about romance from you.
Have apples for the tea.
All right, I'm standing here on the front steps, really, outside the front porch of what we believe was the orchard keeper's home. Just a very small house. Our architectural historian, county historian Kurt Garner, dates it to about the 1920s. And in our aerial photography, you can see that the current trail coming off of 18th Road here really was the little roadway that led up to this nicely kept little house. We don't know exactly when it was built. We don't know exactly when it burned down or if it just deteriorated over time. But many of you, if you've golfed on the Culver Academy's golf course, which dates to 1923, if you've been on the second tee, for the tee for the second hole of the golf course, you've probably seen this house, or this foundation, what's remaining of this little orchard keeper's home. The woods that surrounds us here where we're standing is really kind of, this marks the edge, the northern edge of what was this portion of the Vonnegut Orchard. Everything to the north of here really is old. There was a survey done a handful of years ago. Everything north of here was old growth forest, which is kind of unusual, Indiana old growth timber. So this is really kind of the edge of what was then the Vonnegut Orchard, at least this section.